Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing good so far today. And it's time to continue to look for ways for the Seahawks to save some money. So, yesterday we took a look at some guys who could be cut from the Seattle Seahawks to save the team some money. 7 guys in particular. I put all 7 guys on the screen. You can see everything organized by the amount of money that could be saved and the difference between pre-June 1st and post-June 1st and dead cap hit. Basically, these are the guys who could save the Seahawks significant money if they weren't on the roster when the season started. We're going to have to do some stuff like this for sure this offseason. At the end of the day, we've got a full offseason to go through. We've got less than $40 million. We know that more than $10 million is going to be taken up by the draft. We know that probably another $4 or $5 million is going to be earmarked for injuries in the season. So we need to find a way to save more money. We went through cuts. I put them on screen just so you can easily view all of it on one page. Go ahead and pause it if you want to look at it for a second. But there's more than one way to save money in the NFL. And we're going to go over a couple of other options the Seahawks could pursue in this offseason. And the main way that teams try to save money when they need extra cap space but they don't want to lose players is through what is called a restructure. And in this video, I'm going to go over some guys on the Seahawks who are logical restructure candidates. There are not that many. I'm going to say that right now. Some of them are going to make you feel a little queasy to talk about, but let's go through and see what we can at least try to cook up. All right, here we go. So, restructure candidates. I only see 4 on this team, and 2 of them will make you want to puke. At least 2 of them. But let's try. Let's try to squeeze every last bit of money we can out of the cap for now. And at the end of this series, we'll actually go through and see what should actually be done. Because at the end of the day, I can sit here and say we should do this, or we could do this, but that doesn't mean we should do this. This is just about what we could do. But anyway, what we could do is restructure the contract of 4 players on this team as I see it. Lockett, Disley, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs. Now, here's how restructuring works in short. I'll sum it up as short as I can here. Basically, you take some of the cap hit that was going to affect the current year and you push it forward into future years of that contract. That's the short version. The long version is basically you convert as much of their base salary as you can to bonus. I believe the minimum base salary this year is like 1.08 million. So basically 1,080,000. I think that's the minimum this year. So any base salary that a player has beyond that can be converted to bonus. And then that bonus spreads out equally among all remaining years left on the contract. So that gives you a formula to determine what is the maximum amount of money you can save by restructuring. Now, this video is only going to cover simple restructures, which is to say pushing bonus money into future years on the deal. It will not cover the void year. Now, we may do that, and that's something I'll talk about probably at a later date, but we could do some void year stuff, absolutely. But that's a little more complicated, and it's also a little more costly. The thing to understand with restructuring is the money doesn't disappear. You just kick the can down the road a little bit. And also, when you restructure, the money that you push forward becomes guaranteed, meaning it increases the dead cap hit if you want to cut the player in the future. So that's the benefit to the player. They're getting more guaranteed money. The player does not mind getting restructured, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. The player is actually increasing their ability to stick on a roster or make money if they do get released when the restructure happens. So it's win-win. Well, when I say win-win, I mean the team probably wants to do it to save money now, but it's going to come back and bite them later, and they know it. So with that being said, let's take a look at our options, just financially. The first guy, Tyler Lockett, this is the one guy who I think is kind of a slam dunk if you need to create more money. His current cap hit is $16.75 million. His base salary for 2023 is $9.7 million. and that can be shaved all the way down to 1.08. There are 3 years left on his deal, including this year, so you're going to spread it out evenly among those 3 years. So basically, $8.62 million of his salary, so a little more than half of his cap hit, is convertible to bonus. So he gets additional money added to his 2023 bonus when this happens, specifically a third of the convertible base, or just under $2.9 million. So if you do this, that pushes everything that's left into the 2 future years, meaning his cap hit goes down to $11 million, and you save against the cap in 2023. You save $5.75 million. Did you follow that? If you didn't, it's okay. Bottom line is this: if you do a full, simple restructure of Tyler Lockett, you are going to create an additional $5.75 million of cap space. We'll keep it like that. If the nuances of base to bonus and all that stuff is a little bit tough to follow, just focus on the dollar signs. That's what I say. Okay, next up would be Will Dissly. He's the next guy who I think is most likely to get this treatment. His cap hit is $9.25. His 2023 base is $5.64 million. So he's got 2 years left on his deal, this year and next year. So you can convert about $4.5 million of his base to bonus. Shave his base all the way down. Meaning that you are injecting an additional $2.25 million of bonus into 2023, but you're dumping about half of that into 2024. So his new cap hit would be about $7 million, and his cap savings, if you do this, would be about $2.25, just over $2.25 million. But again, I want this to be understood. What this means is you will owe him more money in 2024, and he will be more expensive to release. So you look at Will Dissly and you go, he's a guy who really might not make it to year 3 of that deal, because while he is a good player, he gets hurt a lot, he doesn't produce huge, he's a good blocking tight end, he's a decent enough receiver. That's a guy who might get to year 3 and that cap hit goes up and you're like, oh, okay, nope, we're cutting that. But if you restructure him, it's harder to and it's more expensive to. So understand that. With Lockett, I kind of feel like we're already committed to Lockett for a couple years minimum. So I don't really care if the cap hit and the guaranteed money and the bonus gets bigger down the line with Lockett. Lockett has found a way to play football in a way that is preserving his body, and I think he'll be effective for another maybe 3 years. So I'm not as worried about that. I would definitely convert Lockett's base to bonus. Dissly, I'm on the fence on, admittedly. Now, these next 2 guys I am not on the fence on, and I am only presenting it because technically you could save a lot of money. But I'm going to say it straight up. Jamal Adams, we really don't want to restructure, and Quandre Diggs is also pretty dicey. However, they are the 2 highest paid players on the team in 2023, $18.1 million approximately. So Jamal Adams' base is $11 million. You can convert $9.9 million of that to bonus, meaning that you are injecting $3.3 million extra to his 2023 bonus, but his cap hit shrinks if you do this down to $11.5 million, meaning you save $6.6 million approximately. But that's just going to make it harder to dump him in future years, which is probably what we want to do now. And I don't mean to be insensitive to Jamal Adams. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to, insult him. I like Jamal Adams. I think that Jamal Adams has got some very bad breaks, but this is a business, and at the end of the day, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, yeah, we need to keep our options as open as possible with Jamal Adams. But $6.6 million is no joke, so there you go. Quandre Diggs, I kind of feel the same way. Now, Diggs stays on the field. His health has been reliable. His play has been good. But when you get to that 3rd year and you're trying to make a decision there, I feel like you want to have your options as open as possible. You don't want to have dead money dragging down that decision. You want to be able to say, okay, we can make a decision purely based off the player. We're not going to feel handcuffed because, oh, well, Quandre Diggs is going to be due so much money and so much bonus, we just have to keep him. This one might be a little more palatable, but I still don't really like it. Let's go over the numbers. His 2023 base is 13.5, 2 years left on his deal. So you can convert about 12.4 million to bonus, meaning that you are cutting the bonus payment in 2023 in half and putting the other half into 2024. So the new cap hit becomes 11.9 million and you're saving 6.2 million. But this means that it becomes $6.2 million more expensive to move on from Quandre in 2024, and it's also $6.2 million more expensive to keep him. So he's going to get his money regardless. He's going to get his cap charge regardless. The question is, do you want to gamble that he'll still be a really good player in 2024, knowing what you saw in 2022 was, good, but it wasn't as good as it's been, and he's getting older, and, stuff happens. Stuff happens. Yeah, I'm not really feeling the Quandre Diggs one. Offhand, what I would say is this. I would definitely do it with Lockett. I feel like Lockett's going to be good for a few more years, and at the end of the day, what I think is going to happen, Lockett's going to get to that final year, and then we're going to give him an extension that gives him a little more long-term security, but reduces the average annual value, and he'll get to retire a Seahawk that way. But at this point, I look at Lockett and I go, you know what, I questioned him a little bit, but he had a great year. He's still a great player, and he's found a way to play football in a way that isn't going to destroy his body. So I'm willing to take that gamble to free up that cap space. I think I would do it with Dissly too. I'm not feeling as good about that one, but I just can't be giving Dissly $9.25 million. I gotta either cut him or restructure him or something. But I'm not touching Jamal and I'm not touching Quandre. I need to keep my options open there. What do you guys think? Do you disagree? Let me know what you got. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks.